more bizarre. It's called, "In the event of the police needing to identify my decapitated body." I've been thinking, you know, in that film, The Omen, when the photographer, played by David Warner, gets his head completely chopped off by panes of glass that slide off the back of a flatbed truck with a faulty handbrake. Well, what if that happened to me? Of course, David Warner was fully clothed and identification would be a simple matter, but what if my beheaded body was found in a state of undress dumped in a nearby river? I make this record of the following should there ever be a need to facilitate a future police inquiry, you know, just on the off chance. My fingerprints have yet to make an impression on the ink pad at any local constabulary, so here goes. There is a small reddish-brown mole that I see on a regular basis in the centre of my chest. A tiny, perfect mound, which as far as moles go, is the only one I've ever liked. On anybody, ever. As for marks on my back, I know of only one, a scar halfway up my spine from a sewing machine injury. I sense a lot of furrowed brows at this point. My girlfriend and I were fooling around, as the Americans call it, and I fell onto a sewing machine, a tin plate toy carelessly abandoned by my sister, who would go on to be an accomplished seamstress. I had to have a tetanus, possibly stitches, my back being something I hardly get to see. I am reliably informed that there are 3 prominent moles that, if joined by straight lines, would form an obtuse angle of approximately 115 degrees. The oldest scar on my body is a circular lesion on my left arm that was likely the result of a smallpox inoculation, an event that, like the scarring, has stayed with me throughout my life. My first childhood memory is being dragged up on a cold, pale green metal staircase to a clinic where, despite being protected for life from a deadly disease, I screamed the place down. There is a mole that indicates the place where my right bicep is supposed to be. Beneath it there is a long scar that might indicate from where it had been removed, although a glance across the mortuary slab at my left bicep would relieve you of that notion, upper body strength not being a priority when football was all I ever wanted to do back then. The long scar stretches for 3 inches and skips to my lower arm, caused by an accident in a cotton mill, which sounds much worse than it was. No urching me scuttling beneath perilous machinery, just an arm snagged on some loose metal trunking while hurling a blanket bale down some stairs in a neglected mill building used only for storage. The journey to the hospital was far more scary, despite the fact that my arm was seeping blood through an ineffectively applied bandage, the factory's nurse being away on holiday, her place being taken by an old lady long since retired, who was given the factory manager's Mercedes to take me to the hospital, despite her admission that she hadn't driven a car for over 20 years. On my right index finger there is a tiny scar which only appears when it's cold, but being pulled from a river it should be visible. This was caused by closing up a penknife too quickly after a childhood game of splits, which was the only thing we thought of doing with a knife back then. Inside my left knee is a stitched up hole, caused through crash landing on a stone after a flying tackle that Chelsea's Chopper Harris would have been immensely proud of. Yet another football injury was the one on my right shin, a coming together of an opponent's boot and my leg that split my Lispro shin pad and pushed its plastic deep into my leg. A large mole on the left of the groin area, which, much like one of those old temples in the Cambodian jungle, hasn't been seen for years, but will no doubt be sensationally discovered by a renowned urologist one day. So that is about it, I reckon, apart from a light mole on the left side of my throat, which I only mention in passing, as it depends at what point the chainsaw makes contact with my neck.